Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're so happy to see such a wonderful crowd today out here at Mohi to celebrate the Black Heritage Society of Washington State. I'm Rachel. I'm the Public Programs Manager, and here to welcome you all. Some quick housekeeping notes. Hopefully you already know about the coffee and the food. If you need the bathroom, the best way to go is straight down this hall, and it will be on the left past the front desk. Please feel free to get up if you need to move or do so, and anybody with a Mohi badge can help you if you need anything else. We want this experience to be as good as possible. And as we ground in the space we're in today, it's important to acknowledge that Mohi is on the historic and contemporary lands and waters of the Duwamish, Suquamish, Muckleshoot, and all Coast Salish people. Historically, Native communities were forcefully removed from the city, and together we honor their continued endurance with deep respect and gratitude for their unbroken stewardship of this place. And we encourage you to learn more about the tribes and visit their websites and museums that some of them have as well. Today, it is my great honor to welcome Carol Peoples-Proctor, who is the Vice President of BHS. Mohi and BHS have a wonderful relationship that goes back all the way to 1980, which, telling on myself, is before I was born. So it's almost 45 years, and BHS has their collection down in Georgetown, in the same building as the Mohi collection, and we're happy to do all sorts of programs together. Check the website, there'll be another one in June. So really, it's fabulous, and I'm so glad you're here to learn both about BHS's past and their present, and then all the exciting things happening in the future. So Carol, take it away.
Good afternoon, or morning. I'm so full of energy that I'm getting my mornings and afternoons. Thank you so much for coming. You're in for a treat because this is all about history and we're constantly making it. And I have the honor of introducing our president, who I just adore, and she earns every bit of that. She's a fourth generation Seattleite, brags about it all the time, proud, proud, proud. Not quiet about it, nor should she. She's an advocator that all of us stay current and be aware of history, especially as we are currently living it and making it. She is tirelessly committed to the society as a steward of the largest African American legacy collection in Washington State. May I introduce to you today Stephanie Johnson-Tolliver.
Oh gosh, hi everyone. It's really good to see a full room. And Carol, I adore you too. You know I do. We have kind of a little love fest going on back and forth. Appropriate, I might add. So thank you, my friend. I absolutely adore you. And I also want to acknowledge at this moment some of the other board members that are in the room today, who also do that tireless work. And because our board is a volunteer board and has been since 1977, and so we give our all to it as the stewards of the archive and the other advocacy work that we do. So Stephanie Spearman, please, and I don't even know, like 20 years, so a lot of history. And Addie, please. Yes, Addie Jones. And is there any other board member in the room that I've been kind of spinning? And so, no. Okay, that's all good, because we'll have another meeting like this sometime soon, and we'll be inviting everyone back, and hopefully we'll have the whole crew here, and maybe even some new board members, I'm just saying. You know, we'll talk a little bit about that later. So before we get started moving through our slide deck, our beautiful slide deck, and welcoming our guest speaker, I understand, and BHS understands, that we live with the love of our ancestors. And today we would just really love for you, and with this reflection and with us, to listen to a really beautiful rendition of the Black National Anthem that is a spoken word piece, a little unusual. I think you're going to really love it, by poet and storyteller Sharon Nyree Williams. So.
Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise, high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading a path through the blood of the slaughtered, out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who has brought us thus far on the way, thou who has by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we meet thee, lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
Oh, okay, I'm a little fast on the trigger here. Yeah, that is really beautiful. When Sharon shared that with me, initially I thought it would be really great to have someone come and sing. And when she presented me with this idea and this thought, I thought, you know, I absolutely love it, and I hope you did too. I will be sure to tell her that there was a wonderful round of applause on that. Just quickly to say and to build on what Carol and Rachel said about the BHS relationship with Mohi, that too is no secret, how much I adore Mohi, how they embrace us and have for more than 40 years, and we're looking for another 40, not sure I'll be, maybe on display upstairs in a case. Oh no, that was bad. But yes, absolutely, Loving Mohi and how they, since 1980, and it could have been even before, but I see some of the first recorded dates of 1980 and engaging with Mohi, and then their invitation to us to join them, and then we managing our archive together with them in Georgetown. So thank you, Mohi. Thank you. Okay. So this slide, I'm going to run through a series of slides and give a quick, well, maybe not so quick, but kind of a review, preview, reflection of the history of BHS. When I came across the 10 years, the first 10 years of BHS, I was drawn to it immediately just because I'm that history nerd, and that little red booklet just says so much inside. And I have to thank Ryan Donaldson, who originally I was looking for the copy and looking at in the archive. We do have several copies of it, but Ryan actually sent me a scanned version of it, and then the library too now is getting ready to publish the version of it, which would be really great and available, because it is available at the library. You have to actually view it. It's not for checkout, but it says some really important things about BHS and how it got started, and the love in community by Esther Hall Mumford. Dear Esther, and her husband Donald. And they're pictured, and this is a photo that was in the book. And luckily, I found it in the archive, a larger version of it, so you'll see it at the back of the room. I can't believe how serendipitous all of this happened. And I'm just saying I might be a medium of some sort. I do. I feel it. I feel the energy of the ancestors. And so this photo says a lot too. In 1980, this was the first meeting of the, correct me if I'm wrong, Esther, but I think this was the first meeting of the BHS membership. You called together a group in 1980. But to get to that point from 1977, you had Esther along with the Letchers, who were here on, what, is that right or left? Thank you. Arlene and Letcher, Yarborough, and then Ben McAdoo. Oh my God, and Ben stepping up in community, the fantastic architect that he was, but also realizing and investing his time into building the history and collecting for the archive. And sitting in front of him is his wife, Thelma, who, no slouch, Thelma was a really great woman. And then there's Esther there in the middle. I love that. Esther, look at your cute little afro. And next to her husband, Donald, absolutely loved Donald. And Don would be at various events, and he was quite the photographer himself. And next to Donald is someone that I did not know, but Jane Lafarge. I didn't know much about Jane, but with this book, I went down that rabbit hole, right? And found out that she was a nurse. She also was in the School of Nursing at Seattle University. Yeah, okay. And so she too was giving her time in 1977 to sit around the table and talk about, what could be, what was the vision. And then absolutely then the Cravens. Yes. On the very end is Beulah Craven's heart, and sitting is Leola Cravens Wolfert. And anybody who knows anything about Washington State Black history and Roslyn, Washington, and the mining families there, and still today, that family holds it down in Roslyn. And so they too were instrumental in the early discussions around what should we do? How should we do it? Esther began collecting, of course, items, putting the word out in community. Let's gather items and memorabilia and artifacts, because we have this vision that someday there's going to be this African American museum, and we want to be there and at the forefront to say, look what we've collected, look what we've amassed, and how can this come together in a museum? Well, years pass, history happens. So much is collected at Esther's home, and at some point, which I'm still trying to figure out, is when exactly all of that left your house, Esther, and then came to Mohi with our collections team, which was led by, and in the corner, so you can see where I dropped Jacqueline Lawson into the photograph, because she was part of that early team too, in 1977 when they gathered first at Esther's home. And Jackie is no longer with us, but she is. And so I've dropped her into this photograph as well. So yeah, again, history happens, collections amass. We forged this really beautiful relationship with Mohi, and here we are today. I know there's much more to share about some of that history and along the way, and today we'll talk more about that. So again, if you get an opportunity to get to the library, or when the digital version of it comes out, be sure to check it out, because it's like a time capsule of BHS, those first 10 years, some of the struggles, the challenges, but also all of the really fun things that they were doing at the time, and also community engagement and interaction in community. Okay, so inside the archive, you can see, I just love that rabbit hole. I always say that. I said, come down and visit us. Come to the rabbit hole. And that's exactly what it is. It's such a beautiful collection that's evolved over the years that truly, Carol hit the nail on the head when she said, it's deep, it's rich. It's something, one of the largest public collections in the state to hold memorabilia, artifacts, photographs. The scrapbooks are the big thing for me. People ask me all the time, what is your favorite thing about the archive? And yeah, it's the oral histories too is kind of a favorite for me. And that was a program that Esther worked on early, along with some other people that were enlisted to collect oral histories in the community. Some of them still sitting on cassettes, but one of our really great partners at Jack Straw has taken a number of those. We're starting to phase them into converting them to MP3 files so that we can share them more broadly, because it's such rich history. So the oral histories are a real favorite of mine, especially when you can hear the background on those old tapes where, you're fumbling with the recorder and going, oh, just a minute, somebody's asking if you want cookies, and they're washing dishes, and so all of that really beautiful background that we said to Jack Straw, please don't take any of that away. Just give us the whole moment. So the oral histories, but the scrapbooks, again, back to the scrapbooks, is they're amazing. So some of those scrapbooks are as early as the early 1900s, and of course people were using paste. I hate that paste. They were using paste and glue and tape, and so you can't, I know they were writing names and dates on the backs of those photos, but we'll never know. I mean, I've tried to very gently too, and I won't tell you that, Stephanie, with the collections team. Anyway, I'm always trying to see what's on the back. Can't see what's on the back. But if you would come and just take a moment and look through some of those early books and look deep into those photos, so it's not just the person who was being photographed, but what was behind them. What was the story behind them? look at those funky drapes and that carpet and, the cars, the automobiles, and, people waving in the background. So those are some of my favorite things in the archive. And so that's what this kind of demonstrates in this slide, and kind of that crazy moment of a working space, because our resource space is a working space, and the stacks, and again, just a sample of cassettes. Joe Staten, I mean, that's a beautiful oral history. And then just quickly, outside the archive. So we, over the years, have done a bit of a transition. But when I look back at the 10 years, the early founding members, they were out in the field. They were doing things, right? They were meeting at different organizations, getting the word out about BHS. And so we come full circle with that too, and do that work today. We continue to do that work today, sometimes with our heads down in the archive. And Stephanie, you know that. You're sitting there, you're accessioning things, you're managing collections, you're taking inquiries and trying to follow up as best you can on all of it. And so our capacity for getting out in community sometimes is a bit challenging, but we absolutely love it. And when we get an opportunity to work with different partners, and also the preservation work that we're doing, just taking everything a step further with our community cohort, our preservation cohort. Thanks to Historic Seattle. I love seeing you here, Eugenia, today. Yes. So a series of workshops that took five people in community stepped up to say, we're really interested in preserving heritage sites. How can we learn, what can we learn about bringing those nominations forward, or even just having a good understanding to be able to tell other people that any place or any heritage site can be nominated by any person. Anyone in this room could make that nomination. Now, the designation is a whole different story, and I won't even get into that because there's some politics around some of that right now that we're working through, but the whole idea of criteria and what's significant is something that's at the forefront right now. So I think you'll be hearing more and more about that, and then also more with the involvement. And there's Zola Mumford. She was part of our series. And Taylor, I see you in the audience too when you're at Historic Seattle to help really bring this program together. And what's really fun and fascinating about it is that the National Trust for, not the National Trust, the Trust for Public Land, there is a National Trust, but the Trust for Public Land was here last year, talked to me, and subsequently I was in New Orleans to present on some of this, is that we're looking collectively to take that kind of pilot project that we had here in Seattle to form a cohort of community to decide how that can happen across other counties. So Pierce County, Snohomish County, Kitsap, all of that. So they're very interested in supporting that. So I think we'll be hearing more from them. And so this is our representation. And then, of course, with Metro, Saving Places, Walker Chapel, it's gone, but that was real important. And then the other work that we do in community with the Washington State Historic Society and the Black Genealogists research group here in Seattle is our heart too. Jackie Lawson was co-founder there. So not only at BHS, but her love for genealogy spilled over into the co-founding of the Black Genealogy Research Group. And here, we'll take just a moment and show our appreciation, please, for Ethel Marie Hubbard. Sadly, Ethel Marie passed away in November of 2024 unexpectedly. for so many years, and mentored by Jackie Lawson in collections, taking the lead after Jackie decided to retire from the archive, Ethel Marie stepping up, taking charge. So missing her very, very much, and it's so nice to see her family here today, Darcel, her sister, and Swansette. Yes, so we'll take, Stephanie Spearman has a few comments about her work with Ethel Marie, and we want to give her just a moment to have some comments here. Thank you.
So good afternoon, everybody. So that's Ethel. And Ethel was a little dynamo. She was bossy, but she was determined, and we worked together for 20 years on collections. And we miss her. She worked on collections the day before she passed away. And so every year, the Black Heritage Society gives out a scholarship. And this year, we decided to give out the scholarship in the memory of Ethel Marie Dorothy Hubbard. And we miss her. Stephanie and I were at collections, and we have an intake book, and she had put down NOM on the intake book, and we're trying to figure out, what is NOM? We don't have anything for NOM. And then we did some sleuthing, and we found out that NOM stood for, we had got a donation of sports memorabilia, and only she knew that. And we figured it out. Oh, that's what NOM it stands for, the memorabilia that we had gotten. So we're finding out there's a lot of things that only Ethel knew, and it's going to take a while to figure this out. But we really appreciated her. She was an asset, and she was dedicated to collections. She also liked to do genealogy. So this year, like I said, the scholarship that we're getting out this year will be in her memory. Thank you.
Yeah, dynamo is definitely the word for it. And
You forgot me.
sorry?
You forgot me. You said my sister, but you didn't.
The mask. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even I was just I'm sorry. Yes, please. Yes, Ethel Marie's family and Yvonne. Yeah, really good to see you. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much for going like that. Get a chance to talk to you before you leave today. I would love to do that. So yes, the scholarship in Ethel Marie's memory, you'll see it'll be posted beginning March 1st. The application period will be open through the end of April. And it just seems so appropriate because Ethel Marie was a lifelong learner, right? And this scholarship will go to support a high school student who's going on with their career at a college or university. So we felt that it was very appropriate. The other thing we're doing, and thank you, Leonard. I talked to Leonard Garfield about a week ago and had this thought about a tile for Ethel Marie in her memory on the Lakeview Terrace here at Mohi. So we're working toward that end in partnership with Mohi to make sure that that happens, and when it does, we would love to invite everybody back and have something special around that, because she absolutely loved Mohi, and you know, she's missed by everyone, so I love seeing her family here today. Okay, so bringing us up to date and maybe a little lighter note, it is my pleasure, and we are so fortunate to welcome someone who's been a champion for arts, culture, and history since I've known him. That was 2008, right? It was just as the Northwest African American Museum was still not in the building, the Coleman building. They were downtown, and I remember meeting Brian downtown in those offices as everybody was scrambling and getting ready to move into the building. I was doing a practicum out of UW Museum Study Certificate Program, and finding my way in my practicum. And so I've seen him rise in a really brilliant way. Brian, I have to say that all that you give, and seeing you move through the Northwest African American Museum, then to the Oregon Historical Society. I was like, what's he doing in Oregon? So the Oregon Historical Society, but back to the Burke. I mean, that's had to have been wonderful. And from the Burke, also leading at the Association of African American Museums, right? That's high prestige. You don't just get there without, you know, finding your way and cutting your chops. And so he led there, and then on to For Culture, where he is now the Chief Executive Officer. And so proud of that, and it's really nice to say that out loud. And all that For Culture gives back to cultural and heritage organizations is going to be. Oh, what was that? Oh, is that Brian? Am I pushing? I'm pushing buttons, I think. So yeah, I'll stop there because I could go on all afternoon about Brian Carter. So thank you, Brian Carter. Welcome.
You ready? Are you ready? Just want to throw you off a little bit. Thanks for the warm introduction, Stephanie. It was really an honor to be invited to share some comments and some words today. And if I can, I didn't write any remarks, because this is, to me, is just family. And it's easy for me to get started. So I made a couple slides. When I first was introduced to the Black Heritage Society, I had just finished up college, and I started as an intern at the Northwest African American Museum, and I was just getting started. And everybody said, you gotta get to the Black Heritage Society, you gotta get to the Black Heritage Society. So this is an email. And this was from, I'm sure folks know, Barbara Earl Thomas. And I said, Barbara, how do I get in touch? Black Heritage Society. And she said, let me connect you to Reverend Phyllis Beaumonte. And that is where it started for me, and that was 2005. And just for a point of reference, that's me in 2005. Young buck. Let me tell you what I could do. I could still dunk at that point. Could run around Green Lake in under 40 minutes. It was a long, long time ago, but that's where it started for me with the Black Heritage Society. And it's been a long and fruitful relationship, and one that I'm very proud of. So one of the first things that we did when we were starting up the Northwest African American Museum is we didn't have anything. We had passion, we had a little bit of money, there was a building underway, but there were not collections. And so what one of my jobs was to go around the state, and I'm talking about everywhere. I should say the region. I'm in Boise, I'm in Yakima, I'm in Ellensburg, I'm in Spokane, but the very best collection was right here in Seattle. And I had the opportunity to really work with exhibit development and the folks at the Black Heritage Society. And at that time, it was Jackie Lawson, who I had a chance to work with really closely, Ruth Stark, who I had a chance to work with really, really closely. And there were some lessons that I learned. I was arrogant. You saw that guy. He had his, he had his sunglasses in his pocket. I don't know what I was doing. But Jackie Lawson had one of the most profound impacts on me, because I came in and I said, I've got this loan agreement, and we have this exhibit development plan, and we need this and we need that. And it was really quick that I understood that that wasn't the right way, and that wasn't as respectful as I could be. And what I had to do was slow down and understand and appreciate the entire body of work that had been happening for the past 30 years. And it was that kind of pace of looking through the collection together, being really intentional about linking the objects or ephemera or archival materials to the stories that we were trying to tell. And that was the fun part. The not so fun part was I just couldn't do it right to begin with. I messed up more captions and labels, and Jackie would send these things back over email like, that's not right, that's not how we do it, you're gonna do it this way, and you're gonna do it correctly. And I thought, this person hates me. Like, just this arrogant young, and it wasn't that. It was a lesson for me that she was generous enough to give. And also, when after, I don't know, it was probably a year or so working together, she gave me a smile. It meant more than anything to me, right? We had finally got there, and I was like, oh, okay, so we had a little relationship. But anyway, there were so many things from the BHS archives that ended up in those early NAMM exhibitions. And there was not an exhibition. I was there 2005 through 2013. There was not one exhibition, one program where I wouldn't call over to BHS and say, what do you have in the archives? What do you have in collections? What do you have as far as storytelling goes? And it was a fantastic group to work with, from Carol to Stephanie and everybody in between. And I saw Esther. Esther was very kind when we first started out to let me come over to her house and ask a lot of questions and try and dig through these things. And I had her book, and it was dog-eared and marked, and, am I doing this right? And I bring these stories up because there is a Black museums movement, and I always tell people that I am a product of that movement. I was brought into NAMM, which was really critical, but I was also brought into a lot of organizations like the Black Heritage Society, like the Black Historical Society of Kitsap County. The number of Black cultural organizations and archives in the region is really incredible. And I felt welcomed into that particular community, and so many lessons that I was able to learn. And so, as Stephanie Johnson Tolliver said, I was at NAMM, and I would go to a lot of conferences, museum conferences. And at that point, this is, 2010, a lot of people were saying, well, how do you create exhibitions that are inclusive? How do you actually work with the source community to bring in stories instead of being extractive with the work that you do? And I'm at these conferences and I'm listening to these sessions and invited to be on panels, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Black museums have been doing this for decades, right? You exist and you are there because it is in partnership with the community, not because you're extracting it and taking the stories and trying to tell them, but instead that was the ethos, and that was what was behind the Black Museums movement. And so you had said I went a few places, right? The idea were the things that I learned at NAMM, that I learned from Jackie and BHS, were those applicable to other organizations? So why did I end up at the Oregon Historical Society? I wanted to know if what I was learning within this supportive Black museums movement was applicable. How can we take these lessons that you don't have to relearn? You simply need to translate such that you're doing better historical interpretive work. So I end up at the Oregon Historical Society, which is state museum and history, trying to answer that question. Can I take what's learned in this particular field and bring it to the larger museum field, because it needs it? And the same reason I ended up at the Burke Museum. And through that, what I came to realize is that there was a need for funding to shift where it had historically gone and where it had disproportionately gone. Somebody needed to be asking. I'm not saying it was just me. There are a lot of folks that are asking this. What are the values that underpin philanthropy within this country? And it is very, very difficult if you are a BIPOC letter-serving organization to receive funding from any source, right? Which is why you end up with a lot of organizations that are small and under-resourced. And for me, my career has always been a question. It's like, well, hey, that's a problem, but what can we do about it? That brings me to For Culture. So for those of you who know For Culture, I assume most people know it. We're a public development authority, and here you see our charter. We're created to support, advocate for, and preserve the cultural resources of the region. So we're a grant maker. And our mission that you see up here is, with a focus on racial equity, we fund, support, and advocate for culture to enhance the quality of life in King County. So that's where I'm at now as executive director. But I wanted to tell you why I ended up there and how the Black Heritage Society was such a key part of that, as well as the Northwest African American Museum. So just a little bit about us. There are 3 revenue sources that we have. We have lodging tax, we have sales tax, and we also have the 1% for art. So anytime a building within King County is constructed using King County dollars, 1% of that has to go to some type of arts manifestation. And then here are the areas and the disciplines that we support. So it's arts, it's heritage, historic preservation, now science, and public art, which is cool, right? That's who we are, but this is why I'm here. King County is gigantic geographically. The myriad organizations that exist, the interpretation that occurs, the artistic mediums and forms, I feel very lucky. So I just want to share a little bit about where that funding that's collected from folks within King County goes. And so here we've got the Black Diamond Museum, because we support a lot of heritage activities. We've actually got our Director of Heritage in the back, Chieko Phillips. Well, I'm sure everybody knows here. Historic preservation. So this is the Neely Mansion down in South King County. Dance, public art. This was a project that we had done with Amplifier during the middle of the pandemic, where the question was, how can you help people understand how to best use this kind of the masks and the protocols, and art is a conveyor, right? It's a communicator to be able to do that. So very happy to partner with them. Film, community gatherings, language preservation, festivals, it's all over the place. Very proud to work at For Culture. We get to support the Black Heritage Society and a lot of other organizations. I think it's something like 700 cultural nonprofits in King County, but I do not lose track of where I started. So I brought these slides up for you. There was a national needs assessment that the Association of African American Museums conducted. I think it was in 2021. One of the key findings, and I don't think this is going to surprise anybody, and hopefully it's heartening, African American organizations, cultural organizations, are fueled by passionate people. When asked, what brings you here, right? You're not really well resourced. You don't have a ton of spaces and money. Clarity of vision, making the most of resources, having a creativity of spirit, and a relationship with the community. That was the #1 finding of what drove people to work at Black cultural organizations. And the #2 key finding is that the majority of cultural organizations within the Black community are small, and they work with modest resources. I don't think this is a surprise to anybody. What you see is 1/3 of organizations have budgets under $50,000. Over 2/3 have annual revenues underneath $500,000. Small, passionate, driven. It's the people that keep it going. What are we talking about, 50 years? Now, right? It takes people that care, and they pass along that care to their kids and to their nephews and to people like me who want to keep it going. And that's what fuels the work that's done within Black cultural organizations. And as I said, King County is really, really big. There's got to be probably 3,000, 4,000 individual cultural practitioners we support in addition to the cultural organizations. But it's not enough. Like when I arrived at For Culture, this was when did I get there? 2016. Somewhere on an average year, $10 million, $15 million going out. It's not enough. And if one acknowledges that there's an inequity to cultural funding and that it disproportionately impacts BIPOC-led and serving organizations, I was raised by my father, who said it's not really a problem unless you have a solution. And so one of the things that I'm super excited about, and I've got my board president here, Eugenia Wu, who has been there for all of this. Just to keep it simple, we needed more money. Doors Open is a sales tax. This was a sales tax levy that passed by the King County Council and the executive in December 2023. And the dollars that this generates are about $100 million per year that goes out to King County's cultural sector. And to me, that is a huge amount of money But what it allows us to actually do is answer that problem of inequitable funding distribution. It's one thing to grow the pie. It's another thing to say, hey, let's be very intentional about where it goes, recognizing historically who has not received the funding, where those challenges exist, and how we increase capacity across the field. So something I'm very proud of, that those additional dollars are now flowing into the cultural sector, flowing into King County, and flowing into organizations like the Black Heritage Society, which I love and really feel privileged to support. So there are 6 programs that occur with doors open, and all of these are running in 2025. We're very excited, but it's not the doors open that I want to talk about. I just want to conclude by saying what I do is rooted in where I came and those people who spent time with me on their couches in the, what did you call the Georgetown? What did you call the collections area? You had a name? The rabbit hole. Right? People who are going to spend hours and hours and hours with me going through the papers and the documents and that kindness and those smiles that I got that allowed me to have that same passion and that same energy and to be able to keep contributing to this field. And that's the thing that I'm grateful for. So now I get to walk into rooms, everybody says, thank you for the money, thank you so much, it's really fantastic. But to me, I'm not going to be here, I'm not standing up here today unless those people and those organizations took me in when I was just a very young, handsome, nubile young guy, but really said, this is a place for you and we care about you. And I hope now that I am repaying that debt that I feel like I owe. That is what I try and do. So again, so proud to be affiliated with the Heritage Society. So proud to be up here today. And congratulations to Stephanie and also to Carol and everybody on the board that's been involved for so long. Please keep up the good work, and I'll try and keep up my good work. So thank you.
Yeah, for culture, we love you too. Really excited about some opportunities, some current opportunities with you. And we're going to take just a few minutes because we really want to acknowledge our members and our partners. And Carol is going to say a few things, and I'm going to back her up. I'm going to follow up, and then we'll just keep moving here because I know we did get started just a little bit late, and we want to, we appreciate your time. So, Carol?
I know I don't like to sound redundant, but some things are just good things to keep saying. And one is thanks Ethel Marie's family for coming here today. She was handpicked by Jackie. That says a lot. As Brian told you, she kept sending back those emails. This isn't right. That ain't right. And I can remember, probably other board members too, how she'd say, I want Ethel Marie to be the collections manager. And we all, who could argue with that? First of all, you didn't argue with her, but who could argue with that? Because we all agreed. And in this room right now, I think it's important for us to not forget that BHS is all volunteers. And so people that are in this room right now that have volunteered with us, like my cousin, Christopher, who worked with collections. Yeah, that's you. I'm proud of him. Christopher Jones and his beautiful wife. She does membership. There's a blast from the past board member, social worker. I never did do that when I was president. That's why Stephanie's a president. She's a much better president. And we will get this accomplished. Where is, oh goodness, I am getting old. Oh gosh, I will bring, stand up please, young lady. I'm pointing at you, 95 years old. Stand up. Somebody help her stand. That's right. Dolores. Okay, she's another force of nature. I was so sad when she left. That's why I needed to quit. So anyway, And then to have Esther Mumford in this room right now. Esther Mumford? You talk about a force in nature. That's right. And she always gave much love and credit to her husband, Don, who recently passed. So anyway, there's just a lot. If I didn't mention you, I'm sorry, because my brain it's on fire about all this history. What was I supposed to do? Okay. Okay, and I just want to shout out these names because the African saying is you're remembered as long as somebody remembers you. So you never die, and to the last person who remembers you. Jacqueline Lawson, and she would correct me, Jacqueline E.A. Lawson. Do not call her Jackie in public. Dawn Mumford, Lecter and Arlene Yarbrough, Jane Lafarge, Ben and Thelma McAdoo, Mrs. Fry, Layla and I'm messing up names, I'm sorry. Layla and Beulah Craven, Elizabeth Wells, Jane Peterson, Ralph Hayes, Joe Warren, Helen Lacey, Eula Johnson, Mary Henry's alive, 101. Mary Henry's 101. Come on, history. And our beautiful Ethel Marie. Thank you so much. I had to get this out. Now I've gone to church, and so I can pass this back on to you. Did I forget anything that you wanted me to do, Madam President? Oh, thank God for Stephanie. I was a president before her. You talk about a gift from the Lord above. I'm still thanking you.
We are definitely a team. She gives me a lot of credit, and I don't think I could do it without her, and then also the investment by the rest of the team that pulls it together in collections, our treasurer, and all the history that people bring from the board, and the shout out that Carol just gave to some of our founding members, but our members who are the foundation of how we work, how we flow. If it wasn't for that foundation, it gets kind of wobbly on the top sometimes, right? But when you have that foundation and those regular members that are investing in us and holding us accountable, we really appreciate you. And we're going to be inviting in a campaign, and something I've been talking to Karina about, I think we were saying just earlier today of, that campaign we've been talking about for the last few years on memberships and raising our membership. We've been really fortunate, though, with the partnerships and support from our partners in community. And this just shows a very short list of the people that we have been working together with over the last just even couple of years as we've been out there in community. So what you see here, of course, we said Mohi, King County for Culture. Well, we partially exist because of some of the funding that we receive from For Culture. The Black Future Fund, that is a wonderful group of women philanthropists, Black women who support us. The National Museum of African American History of let me mess that up, okay. National Museum of African American History and Culture, who is a new partner for us, and in an agreement with them. I spoke to them just a couple of days ago. They'll be back in Seattle soon, and they're inviting us in November to join them. So we're gearing up to head to DC to meet with their digital team in November. The Association of State and Local History, amazing AASLH, and it was For Culture who introduced us to them initially and for best practice, and we still go to that manual every now and then to look at best practice and policy and procedure. The Black Genealogy Research Group, amazing group, and if you're ever diving into your genealogy, need some support and some direction, please look for them. They have open meetings once a month, and everyone is invited to attend. The Seattle Chapter Black Panther Party. I mean, working together with them, and more recently, as they prepare for the Interpretive Center that will be opening. We thought it was going to happen in April, but last night I heard, Elmer say June. So as that space is being built out for them at 2nd and Yesler at the Metropole building, we all know how, it works when you're with construction and you're having something built out custom for you. So rather than April, we're now looking at June, but that's going to be a really wonderful site and a pilot interpretive center for them there. Wanawari and the Black Spatial History, the Institute there is amazing, and all of the oral history and memory work that they do at Wanawari, and us wanting to always be by their side, cozy up to them because they're doing it all right. Seattle Public Library, of course, we're really grounded at Douglas Truth. I mean, that's us and they're in community. The Northwest African American Museum, Brian shared some of what we do there. The Washington State Historical Society and Black Washington, the beautiful app that's an open source app where you can add to that. If you don't see something there, you think it should be there, then kind of pull their chain and see if it gets added to that app. We're really excited about that work that we've done together. The Wing Luke Museum. I am forever in love with them, and they embrace us back. Historic Seattle, the Washington State Trust for Historic Preservation, our programs and our tours that we've done together with them. Converge Media, that's our family. Jack Straw Cultural, the Historic Central Area Arts and Culture District, Reimagine LLC. We've worked together on projects with Marie Cadet, King County Metro, Metier Brewing, we love you. Steelheads Alley, even your spot on Cherry, try to get there as often as I can. Steelheads really speaks to me. That history of Black baseball is just absolutely beautiful. Hoping to do more interpretive work there. Rodney, thank you for being here today. The Mariners, who supported us, the Washington State Jewish Historical Society, and just on and on and on. All of these really beautiful relationships that we've had. So I just want to, before closing out and having a really wonderful poetry read from someone here today, I wanted to share just this quick, it's a 2-minute YouTube on a project that we worked together with King County Metro. So let's see. Does that work with my clicker? Maybe? I'll do it for you. Okay.
This place has huge history and it shouldn't be forgotten.
Those are the storytelling moments that I embrace and feel important to steward.
The Routed in History project, these are site-specific spots that had an importance to African American history.
So the Madrona bus stop is dedicated to the Seattle chapter of the Black Panther Party. The first chapter outside of Oakland, the longest running chapter in the country. Leaders who are unsung heroes. Like a lot of times the Panthers have been looked at as being, a negative entity, a negative force, but they did so much. Our federal government has a free breakfast program because of them. That's still a narrative that has to be doubled down on because people don't understand how important that was. to be able to feed children in the morning, that came through them. They are the founders of the Carolyn Downs Clinic, which is down the street on Yesler. It's a community health clinic, and Carolyn Downs was also a Panther, and she died at a very young age from breast cancer. And so it's a testament to their understanding of the needs of communities that are left out. And a lot of people felt like their pro-Blackness was racism, and it wasn't. They had a lot of relationships with other communities because their passion was liberation for those who did not have. And that is a story that's not always told. And so to just even have a little corner of being in that room with those amazing leaders, it's the stories, it's the narratives, it's the history that our youth need to know. And for it to be across the street from Madrona, who are the Panthers, it's paying homage as they deserve. They're one of the few chapters that still has a living legacy, that's still giving, hopefully in perpetuity.
So a lot of history, jazz history in Seattle. Seattle was the spot. I mean, all the hip cats were here coming to Seattle, and it was a place to be. The Seattle jazz history that's on the corner of 23rd Avenue and South Jackson, a really perfect spot for us to tell the jazz history story. You know, some of the names that you hear often, like Quincy Jones and Buddy Catlett, Barney Hilliard, Jabba Ward, and even Ernestine Anderson. I mean, so many names of vocalists and musicians. Some of it, their mentor was Frank Waldron. Frank Waldron had the first jazz school, and so he was mentor and instructor for Buddy Catlett, for Quincy Jones. They were all inspired by Frank Waldron. It just goes on and on and on. The beautiful images that are on that bus shelter are a combination of the Al Smith collection. Al Smith was a Black photographer, iconic here in Seattle, photographed the African American community over 4 decades, and he just has a treasure of images of the Seattle jazz scene. It's been a lot of fun working together with King County Metro, but also King County TV. And we just signed on for an additional 9 episodes with them. I'll be working together with Marie Cadet as we look a little deeper into Central District history and that share coming out of King County TV. So we're really proud of that work. Let me see. Am I advancing? Yeah, here we are. Again, looking to our vision and where we're headed, standing on the shoulders of the people that we talked about today, is this vision to digitize our collections. We have these beautiful primary sources, but how do we get them out and into the hands of more people and into the classrooms? So that means it's the 21st century. It's time to look at prioritizing what we have and making that more available by digitizing those collections. So we're working together in a group, a collective of what we're calling community collective archiving. We've talked to Wanawari about that, and also the Washington State Black Legacy Institute. and the Washington State Historical Society as well, and other organizations in Kitsap and Pierce County, Black historical groups. Evergreen College will be hosting in May a session of Black organizations, cultural organizations, where we're going to be talking more and more about collective archiving and how we represent the significance within our communities. Next month, March 5th, Roger Evans from the Black Legacy Institute and myself will present to the Heritage Caucus, and we're going to be talking about this vision and what we imagine and how they can help us, maybe with a little bit of funding, to bring some new interns and internship into our collections to help support the work that we do. So that's something really exciting. And I mentioned that the National Museum, the Smithsonian, again, embracing us, their digital team wanting to support the work that we do, and more recently, a conversation with the Getty last week, who have a really special project for us. It's going to be so much fun. I've got a little bit of confidentiality around it, but I'm just saying to watch out for that this summer with BHS and the Getty and what we have planned. And one of our members will be part of that, I hope. And I think I can say that Mrs. Josephine Stokes. Yes, and just sort I don't know, maybe Ebony Fashion Fair, I don't know. But so we're really excited about working together with the Getty. And I think here it's just really appropriate, and a quote that resonates with me, and I'll say it again. We are tethered to the love of our ancestors, right? And with that said, I'm really excited to introduce to you a poet, creative in our community, who's a dedicated community member and leader, mentor, and advocate, with a passion for service and empowerment. She's born here and raised in Seattle. I mean, hey, that's a big one. And holds a BA in psychology and a Master of Business Administration from Seattle University. That's a lot. She is deeply committed to fostering growth, connection through her active involvement in church youth ministries, mentoring, tutoring, and various community-based initiatives. Outside of her professional and community work, she enjoys dancing, reading, and crafting poetry. So please, Anovi Chandler, please join us to send us off with some beautiful poetry today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It is an honor to be here, and I'm grateful to share a poem that I've written for here today. The poem is called We Call Home. Okay. To my intelligent brothers and sisters, we are the mind, the body, the fundamental and vital soul, the instrument that makes music, moving this nation to grow. Yet we keep being bound, wrapped so ever tight like a cocoon, unable to break free, forever indebted into this place we call home. From the awakening, one found our richness. We are the diamonds, stolen, robbed from our motherland, the one we used to call home. Shining bright inside and out, dazzling in color, but kept hidden away in a box because we are the treasure. It is presumptuous from knowing creativity flows through our blood, providing brilliance, rich in culture. We are ingenuous, original, and inventive. We are collective like a river stretching out to several streams, nourishing everything in its path. We are leaders, artists, scientists, engineers, business owners, doctors, lawyers, trendsetters, forging new paths wherever we are sown. Any field, any place, we strive. Rising tall and standing with grace, continuing to make our home a better place for the future to eternity. And when the walls close in, we stand and fight for what is right, You see us united on the news in marches we do. We yell Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. Some ask as they watch, don't all lives matter? Why, yes, they do, but I ask, why are my people a walking target? Is it our beautiful brown skin, our curly froed hair, our wide nose and big lips? Is it the way I speak, loud, passionate voice that fills the room? How can we hear on the news, unarmed black police report says he was reaching for, that's just an excuse for my people have been abused. We must face the reality, the anxiety, and the pain we feel. Our experience make us strong as the roots of an old tree, becoming more powerful in age, braver and ready to fight any storm. But we must fight the injustice because if we stop, we are no longer moving. Bound to stillness, struggling to be free, we must press forward, not just for ourselves, but for our black and brown babies who dream beyond the sun. We must shape a future where hope prevails for generations to come, pouring our mind, body, and soul into this place we call home. Thank you.
Oh, that is beautiful. That just hearing that today for the first time, and I hope that you'll share those words with us. And yeah, again, in writing, we can, and then I know that all of this is being recorded, so we'll be able to share your words live. I think, Rachel, we have a few just closing words and from you and from me and BHS. We want to say thank you so much for coming out today and joining us. And this is actually our 48th year. We are marching toward 50. And so at 50 years old, we will be back bigger, brighter, bolder, and hopefully a lot of new things to share with you. And to please, before you get out of here today, you'll have a chance to mingle. Gwen, is that you at the back? Gwen Howard? Oh my gosh. Yes. Is to please stop at the Smile Patrol, get your photo there, your takeaway, your free souvenir from today. And it's a lot of fun, so please stop for your photo before you get out of here. And Rachel, thank you so much.
Thank you. I do not have much to add because everything wonderful has been said, but I just want to give a huge thank you to Stephanie for everything you've said today. And for all the hard work to put this together. It is always amazing to work with you as a partner, and we're so grateful for BHS, but also for you personally. So thank you. And thank you to everyone who spoke today. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, our amazing poet, Anovi. And thank you for coming, for all of you for being here. I want to plug again, photo booth on your way out. Very important to commemorate the event. Also, we're always curious at MoHi about what you like, you don't like about our programming, what you'd like to see, more things like this. So as you leave, if you could grab a survey. We have both paper copies and also QR codes to do online. We'll also send you that survey online. Check out our website for upcoming events at mohi.org. And I believe that's it. Get some refreshments, enjoy yourself. Thank you for being here.